Good afternoon and welcome to a brand new week, another live Dodgers territory. We are your hosts. That is Clint Pasillas. I am Alanna Rizzo, taking you through the next 30 minutes. Clint, we're going to talk about the River Ryan situation momentarily, but that being said, a good series against the Buccos.
Yeah, you got what you wanted to see. The Dodgers sweep the Pirates in LA. You got some Teoscar Hernandez heroics in there, a little bit of everybody heroics. Great series for the Dodgers, who maybe aren't dead and buried so far. Let's get into it, though, in the big ticket.
The thing that comes across to me is when I saw that River Ryan was being taken out of the game, he looked so dejected, Clint. And then Dave Roberts, the manager, of course, saying that his season is over. 2024 is done for River Ryan. This is a team, my friend, that cannot afford another massive injury to a starting arm.
It's a devastating blow. He was somebody I was really looking at as one of those secret weapons for this team come October. But you add to the laundry list of injuries that they've dealt with. Dave Roberts also alluding to it. You lose River Ryan, Kyle Hurt, basically a non-factor this year. Emmett Sheehan gives out in spring training. The Dustin May situation, the depth constantly taking these hits, and now they say with River Ryan could be a surgery situation. I wonder at this point, just give him the internal brace, just call it a day, call 2025 a day, and let it go from there. But this really sucks, and it brings up the question again: what is going on with all these effing injuries? Is it pitchers being too babied as they're brought up? Is it the chase for 100 miles an hour, or is it the pitch clock, which is something River Ryan brought up? What's going on, Alanna?
To me, it's a combination of things, Clint. I had a conversation today on High Heat on MLB Network with Dave Vasse, who, of course, does a great job covering the Dodgers on a daily basis on AM 570. And he had a conversation with the Bulldog, Oral Hershiser, about his opinion as to why all of these arms are being injured, not just with the Los Angeles Dodgers, but across Major League Baseball. And there's a couple of things that the Bulldog said. He said, of everybody trying to throw max effort on every single pitch, and this obsession with trying to throw the perfect pitch every single time. So the guy comes out at the end of their inning after they get 3 outs, and they're immediately on the iPad looking to see what the mechanics are, looking to make sure it's the perfect pitch. And they're throwing 100 miles an hour as hard as they can, as often as they can. And this is how they're being taught to come up in the game. So you have a guy that's not even developed fully into a man's body yet, and they're trying to throw and do things that the body is not meant to do. And if you're coming up that way, you're doing things to a body that's not supposed to go in that direction, not supposed to throw that often, that hard. And it's really putting these guys behind the 8 ball, if you will. And it seems like now having Tommy John surgery is almost like a definite for these guys. I don't blame the pitch clock, and I understand I'm not River Ryan. I'm not a pitcher in the big leagues, but you got to, if he says it's a factor, then for him personally, it's a factor. But I think it's trying to throw 1 billion miles an hour from a very, very young age, and it's killing these guys.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're literally taught, let it rip. They're trying to force that spin rate to be as efficient as possible. Add in the changes with the baseball almost weekly, sometimes definitely year by year. And the sticky stuff and all of that, it's just piled up into this era we live in where everybody is getting hurt. And again, it's not just the Dodgers, just like you said, it's massive names in the game. It's potential superstars. It is active superstars. And it really, really sucks to see. And as Dodgers fans, it sucks even more because, again, this was somebody I was eyeballing as a very key weapon for this team in October. But now they scramble once again, and all of a sudden, we'll talk about him in a little bit. Walker Buehler has a renewed massive importance for this Dodgers pitching staff.
And Clint, this is what River Ryan was giving us. By the way, he was out pitching Paul Skeens when he got taken out of the game. Let's not forget about that little fact there. He had to leave the game missing the rest of the season. Ryan had given the Dodgers rotation a boost, as we've discussed several times. And you were on the River Ryan train before I was. The team was 4-0 in his starts, and he was 1-0 with a 1.33 earned run average. That's a heck of a performance in 4 starts for a very young man that is thrust into a situation. Perhaps another reason these guys are getting hurt is because I think they're being called up too soon. I think the development of these young arms is not necessarily as long as it used to be. I think guys are being called up out of necessity. They're also being called up because they're cheap and they can go up and down 100,000 times, So, that's part of the reason I think that these guys are getting hurt. You seem to disagree on that point. What do you think?
No, I mean, with River Ryan, it's a little bit different. yes and no. Like he's older. He's 26. He's turning 27 in just a few days. But he's also somebody that wasn't really a full time pitcher. He became a full time pitcher after the Dodgers acquired him from the Padres in the great Matt Beatty trade for LA. So it's like he hasn't fired off that many bullets in his career. But also, again, like pretty much from the jump, trying to let it eat, hit 97, 98 with every pitch, trying to maximize that spin rate. We're going to keep seeing this over and over. And like he said, also mentioning the pitch clock, I think this is something that Major League Baseball, some sort of independent outside person that doesn't get paid by Major League Baseball or doesn't answer to Rob Manfred and company, they need to look at this. Somebody needs to look at the increase in injuries that we've seen over the last couple of seasons with the introduction of the pitch clock. I love the pitch clock. I love being able to get out of the game and not have to stay there for 4 hours or whatever it is. But at the same time, if we're seeing 10 pitchers a day, okay, maybe that's a bit much, but still, you're seeing as many injuries as we're seeing. It's tough to see.
All right. So good news. Let's switch to that for just a
Mario
hot
talking about
second.
that as well on 1 second with River Ryan, because he was playing shortstop as well. He was an athlete there on the field before he became a starting pitcher, not just a reliever as well, starting pitcher. So maybe there's something about that ramp up there.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, asking guys to play different positions. I mean, it happens all the time in the game. I mean, regardless of why it happened, it sucks. And I cannot believe that another one bites the dust. Let's talk about some positive, though, over the course of the weekend. Where would this team be, Clint Pasillas, if it was not for the services of Teoscar Hernandez? Seriously, like, where would this team be right now?
I mean, they'd probably be a few games back in the standings if we're being honest.
Way back.
This is a dude that is a man that is fun to watch. They talked about last October after the Dodgers were swept by the Diamondbacks, and sorry to bring that up, everybody, but it happened. One of the things Andrew Friedman and Brandon Gomes were pressed about was like, are you going to find some clutch players? And Andrew said, like, how do you determine clutch? You don't, that's not really on your baseball card so much, clutch. Well, Teoscar Hernandez has it. He has that clutch gene. He wants to be in those situations, in those spots, whether it's in a game, whether it's in a home run derby, whatever it is. And I'm excited to see that dude playing for this team in October. I think Dave Roberts said it's hard to find somebody you want in that spot more than Teoscar Hernandez at this moment in time, especially. And we'll say it again. They need to back that Brinks truck up, get the money over to him, get the contract extension now. He wants to stay. The Dodgers want him to stay. The fans want him here in LA. Don't give him an option to get out into free agency where somebody can pay him a lot of money. Just to figure it out now. But I love that man.
The point is, you said you want him playing in October. I'm with you. I want him in 2025 and beyond. And this is the reason. First of all, this leads me into a Mookie Betts conversation going back into the outfield. But this is where the Dodgers outfield ranks right now in 2024 as far as the MLB ranks are concerned regarding outfield statistics. They are 22nd in average, so they're basically hitting 229. So God only knows where they would be without Teoscar's average bringing that up. OBP 19th. Their slug is 17th out of 30 teams. They're tied for ninth in home runs. They do have 45 home runs as an outfield unit. That's good enough to be tied for ninth. RBI, they're at 12th. They struck out seventh most as far as the outfield production is concerned. They have 378 strikeouts among an outfield collective. It's not good. The production there is not good, which leads me to the other conversation I wanted to have with you. Mookie Betts returning to the lineup, Clint Pasillas, but moreover, he has decided that he's going to be in right field or in the outfield. And you and I had that conversation if we were setting up our outfield the way we wanted to be in our roster. Again, Dave Vessay today on High Heat said that it was really Mookie Betts, Clint, reading the room and understanding that, you know what, we need me in the outfield to help with the outfield production. There is a log jam right now in the middle, particularly the shortstop and second base position. There's plenty of guys, Gold Glove guys, that can do that defensively. So Mookie, give him credit to say, you know what, I'll go back to where I was before you moved me to the infield to begin with.
Yeah, we got Justin Yamas saying in the chat, Mookie better in right field than shortstop. He has the hardware to back that one up. But I've been barking on this, up this tree or whatever for the last couple of months. To be honest, when he returned, it was painfully apparent that he needed to return to the outfield. I was arguing center field, but they made some moves. I like potentially seeing Tommy Edman out there in center field when we get there. But Mookie Betts reading the room, like you said, like DV mentioned to you. And I'll ask this: why could the Dodgers not see what some asshole in La Puente, California, could see, where the most painfully obvious thing is put him back in the outfield? That's where it makes sense right now. Is this because an organization doesn't want to upset their superstar? How does this whole thing play out where the front office can't come up and be like, look, you might need to go back to the outfield this year. We'll try the infield again next year, maybe second base or
I
whatever.
think it's because they didn't have the pieces to begin with. They had to move Mookie from the outfield to shortstop. Gavin Lux wasn't going to be the guy. At least he's turning into a much more productive hitter right now. But you weren't getting the production from Kike. You weren't getting the production from Chris Taylor. Gavin's not the shortstop we had hoped he would be coming out of spring training because of the arm, because of the accuracy, because of obviously the lack of production offensively. But he's figuring that out. So perhaps it's a situation where they had no choice but to move him, because wherever you put him, he's going to hit. He's
Yeah.
going to drive in runs. So it's like, all right, maybe we put him here. He's an unbelievable athlete. Maybe to me, and I don't know this, but to me, it's more of a roster construction situation where they didn't have a choice but to bring him into. Remember, he came up in the infield. So then he went to the outfield, and then they're like, well, we need you in the infield. And now he's like going back to the outfield. So he's almost like an accordion. Because the infield now there's too many.
Yeah. Well, the infield situation with Mookie, that's something he really wanted. I think he's vocalized over the last couple of years. He gets bored in right field. Plus, he gets tired running out to right field and all that. That's why I've argued center field. He might be, might be a little bit more of an exciting position. Right field is not the most fun position to play for sure. But when you're talking about the infielders, I think. Yeah, I saw somebody mentioning in the chat. You still have Nick Ahmed for. He's probably gone next week when Max Muncy returns. But you have options. You have Miguel Rojas. You have Kike Hernandez figuring it out. Thanks to the glasses. We'll talk about that in just a second. I know you wanted to touch on Kike because he was somebody I was ready to throw away a few months ago. So credit to you there, Alanna. But yeah, I mean, maybe it is a roster construction thing, and the organization did what they could at the trade deadline to try to address some of the situations. They also did in the offseason, try to address some situations. And if Mookie wants to be an infielder, it's not this year. I don't know. I don't know if I said anything of importance there, but I like that it happened. I like that it's the right call. Put him back in right field where he belongs. Bring us some rings, and we'll have a good time.
I agreed. Maddie Man Dodge says he doesn't care if Mookie gets bored. Here's the thing. I think Mookie is going to go wherever they need him the most, and good for him for realizing he needs to be back out in the outfield. Two-part question for you, and we can both discuss this. Has Gavin Lux done enough with the bat to stay in there? And how about the Enrique Kike Hernandez resurgence? This does not become an automatic DFA when, Tommy Edman is here, when Chris Taylor gets off the IL, whenever the heck that's going to be, when Max Muncy comes back. Kike is, and again, I'm a massive Kike fan just because what he does in the postseason. I understand what have you done for me lately? I get that. But what do you make of the resurgence, and does it cause even more of a what do we do next with this infield?
I don't know that it causes a what do we do next. So to the first question, Gavin Lux, yes, I'm all bought in. Mr. Classic also says yes to Lux in the chat here. I'm bought in. It's the real deal. Because what I've said for a while, what I've said for the last number of seasons or different seasons with Gavin Lux is it's all here. It's all between the ears. He got it figured out, got a little confidence, and he's going to let it ride. He's going to let it eat. He plays a very, very good second base for this team, and he's somebody now you feel confident seeing him either, flip the lineup over in the 9th spot as an incredible second leadoff guy or as your number 7 hitter if you're breaking up left, right, left, right, left, right. But Kike Hernandez, he was one of those guys as the trade deadline was approaching. You're like, they need to find somebody to replace him. But he goes to the magic eye doctor, man, at the suggestion of former teammate Martin Maldonado, saying, hey, maybe your eyesight's a little effed in the A. And it turns out it was a little effed in the A for Kiki, and he gets the glasses. He apparently has an astigmatism in the right eye. Dave Roberts mentioned he wasn't picking up spin. Now all of a sudden there's a causation to the numbers. It's not a flash in the pan. There's like, all right, what can we point to? It's the glasses, and this is something people have been chirping about. Craig Osterberg, seeing is believing. I agree, but people have been chirping about it. People have been talking about the legend of glasses Kike. It turns out it's the real deal, and just makes the lineup, or it makes the roster that much better when it comes to October. Or if Muncy doesn't figure it out, or if the oblique gives on him again, you feel confident enough to be able to plug Kike in at third. He's your backup at shortstop if Nick Ahmed is gone next week, which he will be. So massively needed. Awesome for Enrique. And again, I will give the credit to you not quitting on your boy.
Yeah, I won't. I'll never quit on him, and I won't quit on Gavin Lux. What's funny though to me is, by the way, Owl of Minerva woke up on the wrong side of the truck bed today. That person is not happy. He's like, they're like, truck drivers need an eye test. The logic of MLB teams investing billions of dollars into guys and not giving them an eye test. They do give an eye test. There's always a spring training. The whole eye department is there. But good for Kike, because I don't know if people can understand or realize how difficult eye-hand coordination is, and how fast you have to pick up the location and spin of a baseball. If you can't see, and this is coming from somebody myself who's blind as a bat, I need readers because I can't see anything up close, and I need contacts to see everything far away. So imagine me in a batter's box trying to be able to pick that up. And obviously I don't have an ounce of Major League Baseball talent. So I'm glad that he figured that out. Let's transition to behind the seams and talk about some reinforcements besides Mookie coming.
Let's go.
So Maxwell Muncy and Tommy Edman both had 3 ABs. They each got a hit for the Oklahoma City Dodgers. That is fantastic. Glad to see that. We need Max back. You and I have discussed this ad nauseum, that he just lengthens the lineup. He forces guys to throw good pitches, forces the opposition to throw a lot of pitches, and he puts everybody else in their place as far as the order is concerned. So is Tommy Edman playing center? Is Tommy Edman spelling Max at third? Like, where do we see this? Again, Alex Friedman bringing up a good point. Alex does a great job covering Oklahoma City. Where do we put these guys?
Well, we know Max Muncy, if he's healthy and he's playing right and he's feeling froggy, he's going to third base, and hopefully he's playing as well as he did at the first couple of months of the season. The thing, I mean, we talked a while about earlier this season about so many people being injured, and don't just expect them to come back and put up back of the baseball cards type numbers. On the same token, we're excited to welcome Tommy Edman to the roster, who hasn't even played this year. So I don't know how I feel about it yet, but what I like is Tommy Edman is a pro's pro. He comes very highly regarded from the Cardinals organization. He is your backup at third if you need him. He's a potentially Gold Glove caliber backup at shortstop, and he can play a hell of a center field as well as anywhere in the outfield. So that's what the Dodgers did. They went out and gave themselves, that's what Brandon Gomes, Andrew Friedman did. They gave themselves that positional optionality, versatility, and getting somebody like Tommy Edman, who could play everywhere at an elite level. It might keep Chris Taylor off the roster when we get into October, which is fine, or it might keep Jason Hayward off the roster. We don't know how that all shakes out, but it's a good problem to have, to keep getting these guys who are gooder rather than worser in the lineup. And that's a pros pro talk.
That's a high quality education there. For the record, I was super psyched about the Jack Flaherty acquisition. The jury is still out on Tommy Edman. I don't know. I mean, the man hasn't. I've played in a major league game more recently than he has. So we'll see. We'll see how that is. But I do love the fact that he can play third base, and I love the fact that he can play center field. I think that's incredibly important.
Well, is he your center fielder? Is he your left fielder? We know Mookie's going to right, but is he in your
is Kevin Kiermaier still on this roster in 2 weeks? No, he's gone.
the moves haven't happened. My assumption, if I'm being Nostradamus right here, my assumption is Andy Pages gets the option today. That brings Mookie Betts back. Kevin Kiermaier will be for Tommy Edmond, and then Nick Ahmed will be DFA'd for Max. Yeah, but
yeah, I mean, and both. I was going to say that's the thing; they're not expected to be back until the next homestand, which begins for the Dodgers on Monday, because obviously they start a key series with the Milwaukee Brewers today. Two division leaders in the NL West, obviously with the LA Dodgers and the NL Central, respectively, with the Milwaukee Brewers. All right, let me ask you this really quick. We still have Walker Buehler to talk about, and he is supposed to be back on Wednesday. What are you looking at? Do you have a ghost in there or something?
Apparently, it just survived an earthquake. So,
get the hell out of here, really?
Oh, yeah, it's barely doing anything. Listen, this is my flu game now. This is my earthquake game. I live. Look at that. Nothing's even shaking behind me. By the way, you like that Matt Kemp bobblehead? It's real nice.
Actually. We're going to talk about the whole weekend coming up. I'm jealous that you got to see Beast Mode this weekend, and I wasn't in person for that. Well, I'm glad that your house is still standing. That's crazy. So Buehler back on Wednesday.
Going off about the earthquake.
How psyched are you? Fabian Ardaya, of course, does a great job for the Athletic. Walker Buehler returns to the Dodgers rotation on Wednesday in Milwaukee. Dave Roberts says Dodgers are also targeting a St. Louis return for Ryan Brazier. So that's good. That's, that helps the bullpen. Buehler, what do you need?
Well, what did I say when he first came up? I need to see, 8 starts and kind of start, judging him from there. We were able to judge him a little bit sooner. I'm glad he put together his best start on his rehab in this final start. I think he had 5 no-hit innings that eventually gave up a homer, but looked good. They say the ball that was carrying, his fastball was carrying. He was actually breaking off some breaking pitches, hitting his spots. For him, it's going to be about the command. And with this River Ryan situation, the Dodgers again. This guy is now increased in his importance. He's risen back to where he was opening the season, like you had circled, a month into the season on your calendar. Walker Buehler's coming back, and you're hoping he's going to be butane. You're hoping he's going to be Walker effing Buehler back on the mound. Well, he's got a chance. He's got a second life in this season, the same like Kiki Hernandez had, the same like Gavin Lux has had, and hopefully he's able to take advantage of it, because Walker Buehler makes this team that much better. We know how good he is when he's at his best in October. And it's also insurance for if there's, a scenario where Yoshinobu Yamamoto does not come back, you have another option that's not, say Kershaw starting game 3 or game 4 or whatever it is. Kershaw will factor into the mix there, but he's got 6-7 starts to make a name for himself again, or won't be on the roster. It's as simple as that.
All right, we're going to talk about Clayton Kershaw. We're also going to talk about the Milwaukee Brewers and Los Angeles Dodgers series. Let's talk about that. It's a 4-game set in Milwaukee. Earthquake during a Dodgers show, that is totally California life. By the way, Jeremy Meyer, our producer, saying that it was a 4.7 quake on the Richter scale. That is unconfirmed, however, but I'm going to go with Jeremy on that. Brewers, Dodgers. This is a big one, okay? And you have Clayton Kershaw going tonight. David Vassegh, when I asked him the question about whether, just as a fan, I was asking as a fan, I said, do we have enough starting pitching in the first 3 games of a series in the postseason? He said, absolutely. Now, that being said, Dave works for the Dodgers radio station. Okay, I've been there. I know what that's like. Okay, but I do think that they are talented enough to do this. My point is, though, I said to him, not that you need Kershaw to be an ace. I'm not expecting that. What gives you confidence in Kersh? He said, because he's back to being what he used to be. Remember when he was kind of tweaking with that changeup over the last couple of seasons? Now he's back to that fastball and the bread and butter, which is the curve, right? If Kershaw can execute those 2 pitches really well, I think Clayton Kershaw is fine. He goes tonight, right? So he goes tonight to kind of set that tone for this series, and maybe not oh my gosh, this is not the Phillies. Oh my gosh, this is not the Yankees. This is still a good series against a team that you could very well see in the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, it's an important series, and you're seeing these kind of, I won't call them B guys, but they're, Kershaw's not the ace anymore. We know you're going to see Tyler Glasnow in game 1 or a game 2. You're going to see Jack Flaherty in a game 2 or a game 3, but who comes after that when it comes to October?
Buehler, I think, is game 3. I think Buehler's going Wednesday, is he not?
No, I'm talking about not October. but still.
In October. I
That,
apologize.
yeah,
Okay.
in that situation. But you got to see something out of Kershaw in this start. You got to see something out of Gavin Stone if he doesn't want to keep slipping further down on the depth chart. And then Wednesday, again, very, very important start for Walker, for this Dodgers team. So the depth isn't where they want it to be. Like, again, we'll say the River Ryan injury is pretty massive. Them not getting somebody like Kyle Hurt back this year is pretty massive, because those guys were going to factor into the long relief roles in October, and maybe being those guys where Kershaw can go out there, just give us your 4 or 5 best innings, and then we got some guys coming after you. Landon Knack, he's somebody who will be there. Justin Robleski is somebody that will still be there, still be around, still be in the mix. But the importance of this Walker start and of this Kershaw start, I think they really set forth the pulse of Dodgers fans and their internalized fear of getting beat again in October, because
No
good pitch
about it.
beats any team in October. And it starts with your 2 horses that have been around the longest for this team. So I'm looking forward to
about it. Blake Harris on X said, "Earthquakes are never fun, but they're even scarier when you have a 200 plus bobblehead collection to protect." You're like, shit! Oh my god! Oh my god!
I leave all mine in boxes outside of the ones that are here, because I didn't have boxes for those. All of mine are in boxes.
Matt Kemp bobblehead. Tell me, oh, hey, super chat. John Bleeding Blue, $2 from him. Thank you so much for being a part of us. By the way, you guys, like us, subscribe us, rate us 5 stars. We appreciate you very much. Get involved in the conversation, tweet us, all the things. Mookie must be having batting practice, 4.7 Quake. I love it. Wouldn't that be? Yeah, no kidding, huh? Matt Kemp, beast mode. I've known this kid for a very, very, very long time. Obviously, Matt has spent a lot of time in the National League West. So I've gotten to know him really, really well from my time with the Rockies, and obviously my time with the Dodgers when he came back to the Dodgers, all the things. So what was the most, you were there in person, what was the most cool thing for you this weekend?
Just seeing Matt Kemp back in Dodger blue. I really appreciated Clayton Kershaw. It was mentioned in a reel that the Dodgers production team put together, getting some old friends, old teammates. Juan Pierre was involved. D. Strange Gordon involved, giving their love to Matty Cakes there, as I like to call him. But Kershaw talking about him being the true MVP of 2011. The absurdity, by the way, of the how the hell Ryan Braun won that when his numbers were,
and to not have to give it back. To not have to give it back and award it to Matt Kemp pisses me off more than the fact that it didn't go to Matt Kemp to begin with.
But yeah, no, it's something that we need to look at. That we need to look into that, as some politicians might say these days. But still, just seeing Matt Kemp back, putting the jersey on, seeing the smile, that dude's smile will always light up a room. I came up on Matt Kemp. I grew up on that team. I got into baseball a little later in my life, and all of those guys, with him, with Andre Ethier, Russell Martin, that was the first exceptionally good Dodgers team of me being really into baseball. I was watching it for years before, but the Dodgers were pretty bad during those times. So to kind of ride with those dudes and see him back again, the smile, him kind of walking around like he owns that stadium a little bit, because he was bouncing around everywhere, putting the jersey back on one last time. It was fun to see, and hopefully not the last time we see Matthew Ryan Kemp at Dodger Stadium, because it's a good sight to see him there, and he'll have his place on my shelf. One day,
crazy. I mean, he signed the 1-day contract to officially retire as a Dodger. I mean, this kid grew up before my eyes. Like I've said, I've known Matt Kemp for a really, really long time, and I've gotten to know his family really well, and his mom, Judy, obviously. And now, Matt's a dad. And again, in my conversation today with David Vassay, it was like, you didn't see Matt at the park because he had such a hard time saying goodbye to the game. And it was really difficult for him to not be playing anymore. I mean, a lot of these guys, you have to tear the jerseys off of them. I think there's Nomar Garcia at Parra and I had a conversation one time that's like, 3% of professional athletes in any sport, not just baseball, only 3% get to go out the way that they want. 3% get to go out like the Tom Brady's and the Mia Hamms of the world, right? Everybody else is either hurt or the game has passed you by or nobody wants you anymore, And it's like, there's very few people that can go out on top. And it's hard for some guys to be able to be around the game when they're no longer participating. And that's probably what Matt was going through. So for him to be able to come back and embrace the next chapter of his life and be able to do it this way was really cool. It's just a good for him. Congratulations to him. He was a massive part of those really good teams, a decade ago, and or within the last decade, I should say. And congratulations, Matt. We are incredibly, incredibly proud of you. One more super chat here.
Let's go.
With this Dodger Territory show on Kiki Hernandez. Richard, what's up, my friend? It's Kike's eye doctor. Is Kike's eye doctor related to Max's chiropractor? I hope so, because Mad Max goes to the chiropractor, all of a sudden he's healed. Kike goes to the eye doctor, all of a sudden he can hit again. So maybe.
How does it take them? And this is a Major League Baseball organization. We're talking about months for them to figure out.
That's what the Owl of Minerva's point was. He's like, really, folks, like, we're not doing eye test. Yes, we're doing eye tests, but sometimes it takes a minute to figure it out. Did you know that there are contacts? You could do a contact, like one for farsightedness and one for nearsightedness, and on your eye. I'm trying to figure this out because I'm so blind and I'm constantly doing this. I'm like trying to do this, but then I have to take them off to see. It's a hot mess. I'm a hot mess. So perhaps if Kike's eye doctor wants to give me a call, can you fix me too? That'd be super great. All right, let's get to last licks, folks. All right, you guys, Southern California, I need you to help me out. Desperately, I need you to help me out. Boogie was a stray that we found in the middle of South LA, dumped in the middle of the night. We took her in to get her spayed. We found out she was pregnant. She gave birth to 7 puppies. 6 are still remaining to be adopted. One of them, gratefully, is going to be adopted hopefully on August 17th. But she has 6 beautiful puppies. I named them the Big Bang Theory cast. So we still have Penny and Bernadette and Sheldon and Leonard and Priya and Amy are available for adoption. Please, please, please share them in Southern California. Hit us up at Guidry's Guardian for more information. They're wonderful pups. They are American Bulldog and German Shepherd mixes. They're about 3 months old right now, and they are ready for their forever home. Okay, I'm excited for you because you had a really cool meetup this weekend at Dodger Stadium. So let's talk about the Dodgers podcast crew getting together.
Yeah, no. So one of the things I have with my show, like I didn't really promoted. I didn't cast a far and wide net trying to get people to come out there. It was more of people that have been watching me for years, supporting for years, being like, hey, we all need to go meet up at a game. And it turned into, hey, I'll tell some people on YouTube, come on out. We had a number of people come by saying hi, a group of us that chat on my channel's Discord server. We got together and said, hey, well, this is the game we're going to do. We're going to buy these tickets and we're going to have a good time. And we saw a hell of a game. Lots of hugs, a few beers, plenty of laughs, and of course, talking crap about the Dodgers. And you got to throw in an F the Dodger Stadium parking lot, because if you know, you know. But it was fun. I really appreciate that. As one of the guys who came out, Josh Gitt, known him as a supporter of Dodgers media here online. These people support me, they support you, they support these channels, all the fine channels that are here on this YouTube space. I say Dodgers fans do not have it better, or have it better than everybody else, because there's so much great content always available to people, whether it's my channel, this show, even my boy Doug at my old job, Dodger Blue folks, everybody. There's so much great content here. People are going to be upset with me not naming them, so I'm sorry. I'll throw out a Jeff and a Jeff just so you guys know who. But just it's really cool, the community and people wanting to get together and just meet that dude who sits here in his office and sometimes deals with earthquakes and all that kind of stuff. It's cool, and I'm very. His heart grew 3 sizes that day for this Grinchly old man.
Look at the Dodger Blue Grinch with the soul and with some happiness. All right, what is happening tonight on All Dodgers with Clint Pasillas?
Oh, we're making this more about me? No, tonight will be a post-game version of the show, so tube in right after the Dodgers beat the Brewers, or after Clayton Kershaw beats them Brewers. We'll be talking more about the River Ryan situation and just the snake-bit Dodgers when it comes to the injuries, but how they can endure and survive, plus more. And we got voicemails, so if they lose, I'm sure the voicemails will be quite unhappy. But tube in again right after the game, All Dodgers with Clint Pasillas. That's me.
All right, Pinsanity, thank you for that comment there on the chat that says that the earthquake got him up to watch Dodgers territory. So obviously God wanted him to get up and watch Dodgers territory. That's going to do it for us. We have a special time this week. Clint and I will be back with you at noon Pacific on Wednesday. I'm going out of the country on Thursday, so Clint and I will be back on Wednesday. Don't forget to bring a friend. Smash that like and subscribe button. Tube in. We appreciate it very much. We're past 2,000 subscribers. Let's get that up. Until then, though, Clint Pasillas, Alanna Rizzo saying goodbye on Dodgers territory. Go Dodgers.
Bye.